Today I ducked up by vacuuming my anus. This actually happened this afternoon. Not very much backstory needed for this one, however I guess I should explain myself. Firstly, I'm lactose intolerant. Really badly lactose intolerant. If I have cheese, whey, pretty much anything with milk solids in it, I'll start blasting with wind like an involuntary ass trumpet. Diarrhea happens occasionally as well. The issue is that I really like brie. Secondly, I was home alone today. My girlfriend had gone out to lunch with her friends, and I thought I'd surprise her by cleaning the house whilst she was away. Who knows? It could have led to some grateful sexy times. As it turns out though, this was never to be. Before I started, I spotted some brie in the fridge. It wasn't long into vacuuming that I started feeling churning. I farted a few times, relatively mildly, before an epiphany hit me. Why don't I vacuum away my farts? The smell will be contained inside the bag and potential embarrassment in the future may be avoided. Without further ado, to maximize absorption, I undid my pants the next time I felt another gas wave hit me. So began the biggest mistake of recent memory. It turns out that between the negative pressure of a vacuum and the positive pressure of a fart, that the effect was stronger than anticipated. As the fart arrived, the gas was rapidly absorbed into the vacuum tube, along with the end segment of my large intestine. Unsurprisingly, this hurt a ducking lot. I immediately turned off the vacuum and tried to push my sphincter back inside my ass. Turns out that doesn't work, and it also hurts a ducking lot too. Not long after, my girlfriend arrives home. I avoid explaining why I'm in the bathroom for a while, but eventually I come clean. She laughed way too much before realizing shit was serious. I'm in hospital now, being prepped for surgery to reconstruct my ass. Seriously people, as smart as you might feel about vacuuming away your farts, just don't do it. TLDR, I vacuumed out my rectum trying to contain a fart. Put a leaf blower to your ass. Problem fixed. In hospital, rectum ruined and eyeballs dangling from my sockets. Rectum? Hell, it almost killed him. What the hell kind of vacuum is that? Because mine won't pick up strings off the carpet without a pretty please and engraved invitation. Yes, reading this review, this is the next vacuum I want to purchase. He should write that as an Amazon product review. 4 stars, would be 5 but prolapsed anus. Today I ducked up by not asking my girlfriend if she has been pooping in the shower. So as the story goes, my girlfriend and I have been dating for almost 5 years, but just moved in together about 6 months ago. She is very smart, clean, fun, and generally just an all-around good person to live with. Until about 5 months ago. She typically wakes up earlier than me and hops in the shower right away, so by the time I get up she is finished in the bathroom. One morning as I was getting in the shower I noticed some brown stuff near the drain of the tub. I thought nothing of it really and made a note to clean the bathroom later that day as it had been a couple weeks. The next day I hopped into a freshly cleansed bathtub, and to my dismay, there again were traces of some brown material in different areas of the tub floor. Concerned and a little disgusted by this mysterious matter, I rinsed it away the best I could. It couldn't be what I thought it was, right? Maybe we had mice. Yes, mice. I should tell my girlfriend to pick up some traps on her way home. Fast forward a few weeks. Completely empty mouse traps, zero evidence of mousy activities, yet still almost every morning I was met with a greasy brown substance hastily mashed around the shower drain. I planned my words carefully. It was not my intention to embarrass her, as I would expect this type of behavior would indicate some type of underlying mental disorder or strange fetish that I was somehow unaware of. Whatever her reason, we would work it out together and move on with our lives. The moment finally came after dinner tonight. I took a deep breath, put my hand on her knee, looked her in the eye and asked, "Laura, have you been pooping in the shower?" A mix of confusion and mild amusement crossed her face and she responded with, excuse me? Is that a serious question? I guess my uncomfortable body language made her realize that I indeed was serious, and she immediately became alarmed. I explained the strange matter that I would find in the tub every morning, and it didn't look like residue from any of the products that she used, so I couldn't imagine what else it could be. There was a pause before she began giggling hysterically. I use my morning coffee grounds as a face scrub. The amount of relief that washed over me was intense, but I was only able to enjoy it for a few seconds before she stood up and said, "Wait, how long have you been suspicious exactly?" "A couple weeks. After moving in was the first time I noticed." "Why? You thought I was shutting in the shower and you waited 5 months to confront me about it?" All hail OP, who didn't run away, even though he got sick and tired of his girlfriend's shut until he realized she was just scrubbing her face with coffee. Happy 50th anniversary in advance. All hail OP, who couldn't tell the smell of shut from that of coffee. Please don't ever make me a drink. Today I ducked up by masturbating in the restroom at work. This was 8 years ago when I worked at a megaplex movie theater in Orlando. It was a summer day and I was tearing tickets. Usually ticket rippers switched off after 2-hour shifts, but I enjoyed getting paid to just stand at the podium, doodle on theater schedules, and pretty much do nothing. So I usually volunteered to just rip tickets for my entire 8-hour shift. Anyways, it was summer, and it was a particularly hot and muggy day in Florida, so a lot of the female customers were wearing short shorts, tank tops, etc. Like any horny 17-year-old male, this was all rather relevant to my interests, and I got to the point where I needed to release the tension that had built up throughout the day. Towards the end of my shift, I took a 15-minute break and went into one of the handicap restrooms to jerk off. The nice restrooms with a single toilet, sink, and where you can lock the door. Now when I do the deed, I like to be laying down. Don't ask me why, it's just something I've always done since I was little. I guess I like to be able to stretch out my legs and I can also finish quicker that way. Since time was of the essence here, when I got into the handicap restroom I laid out on the floor and proceeded to jerk it. They cleaned the restrooms regularly, and I'm not much of a germaphobe, so the fact that it was a restroom floor wasn't an issue. Anyways, I guess in my haste, in getting in and getting off, I didn't properly lock the door. To this day I don't know why the door didn't lock. I can only assume I didn't turn the latch all the way. About halfway through my jerk off session, the door opened, and one of my female co-workers came in to clean. Now I was laying on the ground along the wall that the hinges to the door were closest to, so when she opened the door and pushed it inwards, she didn't see me at first because I was hidden on the other side of the door. She managed to enter the restroom without seeing me laying there on the floor behind her with my pants down. I knew I was dead in the water, and it was only a matter of seconds before she would turn around. So I had to think fast. At the time I had recently watched some CNN documentary about kids with epilepsy. As the girl turned, I started convulsing on the ground and pretending to be having a seizure. The girl yelled "Oh my god" as I just lay there shaking violently on the ground and staring off into space. She ran out of the bathroom and started screaming in the lobby for someone to help. As soon as she stepped out, I quickly pulled up my boxers to at least conceal my Venus. Luckily the sheer terror of the door opening killed a good 75% of my erection on the spot, so I like to think it didn't look like I had a boner. On the bathroom floor I debated how to proceed. I knew people would be entering any second. I then realized I was at the point of no return. The assistant manager of the theater soon burst into the bathroom and I continued to convulse on the floor. He kind of just knelt by my side and put his hand on my shoulder as I continued to shake there like an idiot. I mean, there wasn't much he could have done. An ambulance arrived in literally 3 minutes. When the paramedics came in, I decided it was time to snap out of it, and so I stopped convulsing and just started to grovel on the floor and pretend to not know where I was. They put me on a stretcher and wheeled me through the lobby to their vehicle. A good sized crowd had formed at this point. They were about to take me away in the ambulance, but I got off the stretcher and insisted that I was fine. I made up some story about having had seizures my entire life and that this happened to me a couple times every year. I kept insisting that I was fine and was able to talk the paramedics into leaving. The theater had my mom as an emergency contact, so she eventually came and took me home. I could never tell my parents what really happened, so to this day they think I really had a seizure. In the following months I had to take several neurological tests, had to do several overpasses at the hospital, and was put on a few medications that I only pretended to take when in reality I flushed the pills down the toilet. Thank God for health insurance. In retrospect, it would have been better to have just gotten caught jerking off than to have had to go through all the lies, doctor appointments, and medical bullshit. This is where the true today I ducked up aspect of this story lies. After a while it looked like the seizure was just a freak one-time thing and it finally all kind of just went away. I ended up working at that theater for another couple years and people were always really nice to me and thought I was just some poor schmuck who had a seizure while trying to take a shot. TLDR, pretended to have a seizure to get out of getting caught masturbating at work.